So today on the bench we have Chip's acoustic Larrivee, an amazing guitar with a terrible scratch. It goes all the way through the guitar, so we decided to create a metal plate for it. So what we did, started out with a piece of copper, and I cut it with the jeweler saw to a template that I glued to it, as you can see there. And then we went in and ground up to the edge of the template, clean things up a little bit. Be careful when grinding, always wear glasses, grind no aluminum. More grinding, takes a while. I wasn't using a super harsh wheel. I didn't want to accidentally rip too much metal off. Here we start the sanding process, which you guys I'm sure are familiar with. There's just a ton of sanding. With something like this, you have to go back and check and recheck over and over. And we bevel the edge, a couple round files and a couple straight files, just to get all the curves with a little point in there. We are cutting out the inside, which is always fun. And there's the first test fit of the preamp. And now I'm just setting the holes for the copper plate we're going to drill through so that the bit doesn't wander. And more filing. You'll see a lot of that. Here we are drilling the pilot holes the screws go through to get into the guitar. And then we use a larger bit to countersink them, and we'll do a little bit more countersinking later after we test the screws just to see how they fit. We don't want to go too far. You can always go farther, but you can't always put back. Okay, so I got the preamp in. I am now gauging the areas I want to bend a little bit more to fit the guitar better. Just marking those areas out. And I'm tapping them down using a hammer and a bit with some wood in it. Cutter bit. It did the job. And it's a lot of back and forth. You test it on the guitar, you tap it down, you test it again, you tap it again, just until you get that bend just right. And this is just smoothing out those edges a little bit because we don't want it to lift off the guitar anywhere. Here we are testing it on the curve. You saw this clip earlier. Just making sure we cover that whole gnarly area. Dremel time, my favorite time. So we start cutting. There's a brutal noise that's playing right now. I figured you didn't want to hear that. As you can see, it's starting to cut through on the edge there. Here we have a little saw we're finishing the cuts with until finally the area comes out. Ta-da! Now we test the preamp again. Make sure it fits. It does. I think I relieved the hole a little more just so I could fit the plate on exactly where I wanted it. Now we drill the pilot holes for the plate. Pretty simple. And here we are just drilling some more holes. This is actually drilling through the bridge for the piezo. Go slow. Get the exact bit that's the right size. Go slow. Make sure your bits are incredibly sharp when you do something like this so that you get nice clean holes with no blowout. And control your drill too. Don't let it push through. See, we got a nice hole there. Always vacuum out your guitars. That's very, very important. Can't stress that enough. Here we are doing some more finish sanding to get that sheen we want to get. And some layers of clear coats, of course, to hold that sheen in a little bit longer. It's going to patina over time, which we kind of want. You see all the holes in there, and it's ready to go. So now we're cutting out the bottom side of the preamp. This is where the guitar actually plugs into your cables. Take a journey with me into the guitar. It's all right. setting the holes for the pilot holes, again just so the bit doesn't wander. Drilling through, and there's Daryl. Alright, now the forgotten bit of sanding you always have to do. If you put in a piezo pickup, you have to make sure you compensate by taking away material from your bridge. In this case, we had to take away a pretty substantial amount, but I have a line drawn across this bridge, that way I know not to go too far. I usually use a diagonal pattern on something very flat and hard like that piece of granite. And here I am just going ahead and edging over just the edge a little bit to round it off some more to make it more comfortable to play. And piezo goes in, and the bridge goes in on top of it. Make sure you have it set the right way, that helps. And after that, you just gotta put your strings in, which is what we're doing here. Finishing that up, and then you play it. And that's it. Make sure you guys go check out my Somewhat Serene video. It has this guitar in action, recorded well, not just with a camera mic. Thanks everybody. I think Chip's gonna like it.